It's so good to be with you all here today. Just so you know, I grew up here in Washington State. This is home for me. My feet are wet and it feels normal. I grew up hunting gooey ducks with clam guns. If you are only from here, you know what that means. This is home. This morning I spent some time with my mom, who I haven't seen in a few years, and spent some time this afternoon with my brother, whom I haven't seen in a few years. So it's good to come home. And because this is home and I have family, the unchurched family that live here, it matters to me that we plant more churches to reach my family. This is important to me. When Pastor Jose was sharing with me a few years ago that we are moving boot camp west, my heart was filled with excitement. Because I could see all the church planting on the East Coast happening. But not much on the West Coast. A little here, a little there. People like Dustin saying, I'm stepping up. And a few others here and there saying, I'm stepping up. But not a movement. And I see the beginning of a movement right here with you. I'm excited to share with you today what the North American Division Evangelism Institute can do to help you plant your church. On your table you have a handout here. Please take that with you, put it somewhere, save it, because it may come in handy later for you. The North American Division Evangelism Institute is located at Andrews University at the seminary and is committed to doing two things primarily: educating the future pastors of the Seventh-day Adventist Church before they launch into their official ministry, some of them again, some for the very first time, as well as equipping and training local church members and pastors, leaders in their churches throughout the North American Division. There is a team of us there providing all kinds of resource and training in issues of evangelism. John Boston's here with us today. He just hot off doing an evangelistic series on the East Coast, reaching people there, and we travel all over doing evangelistic series in local communities, and so just amazing stuff that's happening there, including church planting. I'm excited. I haven't moved there yet. My stuff is all boxed up. And when I leave here Monday, get back Monday night, 11 p.m., 8 o'clock Tuesday morning, the moving truck shows up. Everything's already in boxes. Praise God. Thank you, Jesus. So that I load it all up and head to Bering Springs, Michigan, where I'll then get a chance to really start digging into helping not just plant churches, but equip and train church planters to be church plant multipliers. We don't want you just to plant a church. We want to do everything we can to equip you and train you to plant a church, because it's tough to plant churches. It's very tough. It is easy to come into an established church that has all its problems and maintain a program and just tweak it a little bit, visit some people, ignore the mean people, do really good there for 3 to 5 years, and move on to greener pastures. That's easy. To reach people nobody's reaching, in a language nobody's communicating, in a community where nobody else is at, by pulling a team together and having a church that doesn't have a discipleship process yet, that doesn't have a worship service yet, that isn't involved in that community yet, that doesn't have a treasurer and a budget and a head elder yet, and putting that team together to have one shared vision to love and reach that community for Jesus Christ, that's tough. We're going to do everything we can this weekend to give you some next steps. And the North American Division Evangelism Institute is not just there to help you accomplish that with success, but we want to equip and train you to equip and train future church planters. That's how you create a movement. Because right now in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, church planting is not a value. As Jose accurately said, you don't find it in the church manual. In fact, the church manual and much of the policy of the Adventist Church is directed toward just going in and having pastors over established churches and maintaining the status quo. That's how it's written. That's how it's designed. That's not how we started, and Pastor Steve Letty is going to be talking about that tomorrow. You are not going to want to miss what he has to share about that. It is going to tear you up. But our goal is to equip and train you to be able to equip and train other church planters who can equip and train other church planters. And that's how we reach those over 7,000 more church plants that we need to get just to reach the current population. So I want to share with you some of the ways that we can help do that for you at the North American Division Evangelism Institute. You have that handout there on your table. I'll be referencing some of that. We have two primary programs in church planting. We have many other things, but two primary things. The first thing that we have is what we call Seeds Conferences. These are vision casting events where we can come into your conference or your union and help provide over the course of a weekend a vision casting ministry for your pastors and church leaders. Pastors, volunteer lay pastors, elders, people who are interested in church planting. We can come in to your conference or union or community in a city or whatever it might be, and we'll have over the course of a weekend, we will lay out for you why church planting is important, what the Bible has to say about it, what Spirit of Prophecy has to say about it, why we need to do this, and why we need to do it in your community, and help answer the question, why plant more churches when we have established ones already? Why don't we invest in time fixing the ones that are struggling instead of reaching new ones? Which, by the way, the North American Division is doing that with our revitalization program too. We're not ignoring grandma and grandpa either. But we can come in and help cast that vision. Why is this important? 7 years ago, when I was hired in the Potomac Conference to plant a church, they brought me in to plant a church. The Beltsville Church was a church that was growing. They had had 2 services and were ready to plant a church. They brought me in to be the church planter to plant another church in the community. And when I came in, the day I came in was the day after the lead pastor had retired. So my only job was to recruit about 50 people from this church of about 900 to plant a church in Silver Spring, Maryland, downtown Silver Spring. So I didn't have any other responsibilities other than that. So I get up, the lead pastor's gone, and they say, well, let's just get him to preach as much as he's willing to preach. And so I'm preaching on mission, I'm preaching on vision, I'm preaching on church planting, I'm preaching on discipleship, I'm preaching on the mission that Christ has called us to accomplish. And people, as they're looking for a new lead pastor, say, why can't we have this guy? So the ministerial director comes to me and says, can we have him? So they came to me and I said, no. I don't want to pastor an established church. I want to plant churches. So you can send the message back to them that I'm not interested. You know, it's a great church, wonderful church. So they came back to me with another reply, kind of another option. We want you, because we don't want to just plant one, we want to plant multiple churches. And we know you get it and you'll help us accomplish that. So that's why I became the lead pastor. Well, when I became the lead pastor, the conference did not have a vision for church planting. And so we started holding seeds events. Some pastors, somebody on ministerial in the conference office started holding these seeds conferences within our conference. We invited church planters from outside of the conference to come in, and we invited the administration of the conference to come and present at our Seeds Conference so that they would hear about church planting at our Seeds Conference. And when they came to our Seeds Conferences, they're like, we need to be planting churches. They started doing some studies and started looking at, well, if we need to plant one church for every 25,000, how many more do we need? And they were blown away that here in the Potomac Conference, where the North American Division and the General Conference is located, there are many, many churches in the community of all different kinds of churches. We needed vastly more churches to reach people right here. And so they put together a plan and a vision. They brought Steve Letty in, one of probably the best church planter I know, to help fulfill the vision. And we've developed this process of church planting there because of Seeds Conferences. Some of you are coming from Northern California Conference. You're part of a conference that's committed to church planting. Some of you are here from Washington Conference. You're part of a conference that's committed to church planting. Some of you might be coming from other conferences, and you're the only guy or gal interested in church planting in your entire conference. You want to go back and start casting the vision to not only to your core team to plant a church, but to your conference administration to bring in a seeds conference so we can help turn the tide of church planting in your conference to where you have a conference that fully supports you. That's what it'll help you do. We will bring in experienced church planters. We will work with your conference administration to help cast the vision for church planting. And we sit down with them. You'll sit down with them at IHOP when they come and meet with you every once in a while. And you cast that vision. And we'll sit down with them, we cast that vision, and then they're going to realize that this is what the Seventh-day Adventist Church exists for. We exist for the purpose of making disciples, and that happens through the body of Christ. And this is a church. So we have seeds conferences. We have two different kinds. Our primary one is the vision one. This is the one where it's kind of big, broadcast. Everybody's welcome to come. And we talk about church planting. We encourage them to make a decision to either plant a church or to support a church plant. We've just started doing seeds core groups. So we come in and work with existing core groups before they have launched to help equip and train them in next steps, etc. So I would encourage you to consider to not just plant a church, but to plant a movement in your conference. And consider seeds as a way of helping with that next step. Let me share with you a short testimony. Is there audio connected through here? I hope it comes through. If not, I'll just skip through. Short testimonial. We'll have a mic here just in case it doesn't. It should be hooked in through... Oh, is that mic there? All right. Well, we'll see. If it doesn't, that's okay. We can use the mic if it doesn't work. Here we go. Let's see. No, okay, forget it. We'll skip it. It's a testimony of a bunch of people how awesome Seeds is in their conference. The next program that we have, I may be turned off on mine, so we'll try it one more time just in case. Ready? Nope, it's okay. Trust me, it's awesome. All right, the next thing is Acts. It's probably not turned on through. Yeah, it's HDMI, you know how it works sometimes here. Let's see, my audio is, of course, the thing you hate to do while everybody's standing and watching. See, display for. We love you, Tim. Thank you. All right, let's try this now. Nope, we're forgetting. Moving on. Trust me, it's an awesome video. The next thing that we provide for you is Acts training. This is the mother lode. What you are going to do this weekend is you are going to leave this weekend pumped and excited about church planting. You are going to have a vision to go back to your communities and begin putting together a core group of people to plant a church to reach a community or a people group where you're at. But within a month of leaving here, you're going to say, how do I do that? What's my first step? What's my second step? How do I accomplish this? That's what ACTS is all about. ACTS is an acronym for a residency that we provide at North American Division, where we come in to your conference. If you do not have it in your conference, you can come to one another in another conference. We invite you, we'll bring you into another one, where we go through 4 different aspects in a pretty much a year-long, depending on the context, residency. You'll come in for 4 modules that focus on assessing, where we start by just assessing to see how qualified you are, what your gifts are, what your personality style, what your ministry gifts are, etc. to assess. We provide coaching, ongoing coaching throughout the entire process to help you with your next steps. Training, we will give you every possible resource and next step that you are going to need depending on the kind of church that you are planting to be able to successfully do that. You will not leave without enough resources. You will know exactly what your next steps are, and you will have a coach to help hold you accountable in accomplishing that next step. And then we send you to not just plant the church, but to help plant other church planters We have the potential to plant and fulfill the vision that we have in North America, to plant 1,000 churches. But you know what our greatest weakness is in accomplishing that? Coaches who are willing to coach people in church planting. We need people who plant churches, and then they're willing to come along other people with the principle of multiplication and plant more, help them plant churches, so that we develop a movement. We want to move away from the concept of, I want to plant a church so that I could be the next Craig Groeschel. I want to plant a church so that I could be the next Andy Stanley. I want to plant a church so that I have a church of thousands of people. Our vision is for you to plant a church so that then you will know how to equip and coach somebody else to plant a church, who will have the ability to equip, coach, and train somebody else to plant a church. And not just plant one church, but plant a movement. And that's what Acts is all about. It's about accomplishing that. We have 4 basic modules for it. The first module, the first time you come together, is 2 days, intense, 2 full days together, where we focus on assessing your calling and understanding the basic concepts of why we're planting. Helps answer that question, why plant churches when we have those that are already struggling, get you off the ground with that. We come in the second module, generally about 3 months later, and help you to develop the skills of pulling together a core team of people. We're going to be talking about that a little bit this weekend, but how do you pull a team together? Do you know you can actually have people come to you and say, I want to help you plant this church, and you need to have the discernment to say, you're not welcome. When you are begging for the Lord of the harvest to bring workers into the field, you need to be able to have the skill to tell people you can't be part of this. We teach you how to do that, what that means. Module 3, we help you begin planting ministries in your community. How to discern what the real needs of your community is. We do that in Module 1. 3, how to implement that and actually be the hands and feet of Jesus Christ in the community, to partner with other people, how to start your small group ministries, etc., long before it's a worship service. And then eventually Module 4, and that's that launching of that service. We have a process that if you follow, you will multiply, like Joanne's church. Pastor Joanne Cortez, this last Sabbath, had 100 people, and they haven't even launched yet. Haven't even launched yet. They're not launching until February, and they've already have 100 people. She's following that process. We train you in detail how to do all. That's what Acts training is about. How many of you have ever been part of an Acts training? Yes, no, good thing, bad thing? Yeah, it's amazing stuff. And so that's what we're here to help you do. We have Acts training not just in North America, but all over the world. You can see we have a square in Northern California because we're just getting going with excitement there. But most of it's on the East Coast, and we'd love to see it in Washington, on Oregon, and all throughout and everywhere in between. We have more people who are stepping up saying we would love to have Acts residencies in our community, and we would love to be able to help accomplish that. But as my role as one of the associate directors of the North American Division Evangelism Institute, primarily focusing on church planting, I can't do it alone. I need you. I need Jose, I need Dustin, I need Steve, I need John, I need all of you to not just plant churches, but help equip and train others to plant churches who will plant churches, so that it becomes a movement throughout the entire area. So let me ask you to do this. Here's your follow-up. I need you to be attentive all weekend. We're going to just pour into you this weekend. Pastor Jose and his team have been working so hard to make this thing happen here in the West Coast, and even though there is a pandemic and a lot of craziness going on, we're committed to the mission of planting churches, because that's how discipleship is fulfilled, through the process of planting churches. And so we're going to send you away with, you're just going to be inspired. I want you to also commit to planting a movement. And if you have a leadership in your conference that's like, yeah, I'm glad you went, good for you, I want you to begin praying for the leadership of your conference and the other pastors in your conference and the other leadership and the executive committee that they will capture this vision and talk to them and say, you know, North American Division Evangelism Institute would love to come and explain this. Can we invite them to come and do a seeds conference? That's a great first step. And then once they hear it, they're going to want to know, how can we best equip our leadership to plant churches? And then we'll be able to do the residencies. So those are some things that we're able to do to help you. Feel free to pull me aside. I'm here all weekend to help you do that. You can find me soon on the NADEI website. I don't think I'm there yet, but find me soon there. But would love to help you fulfill the mission of making disciples.